All right, welcome. This is Calories as Currency for Fat Loss. This was our first foundations call. Unfortunately, I didn't get it recorded, so here we are recording it again. And if you're watching this, you're actually watching me record it again, because my mic wasn't working the first time, and I didn't think of checking that. So here we are. So first things first, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. The information shared in this presentation is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition. If you're dealing with a specific health issue or medical concern, talk to your doctor or a licensed healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or lifestyle. Everything I'm sharing here is general information to help you build awareness and make progress. It is not personalized medical advice. There's my disclaimer. So don't sue me, guys. So most people experience some, all, maybe one of these scenarios, okay? You feel like you're doing everything right, but the scale's not moving. You eat healthy during the week, then it unravels on the weekend. You start strong at the beginning of the week, life gets busy, motivation fades, takes a turn for the worst. You track one day, fall off the next. Probably sounds familiar to some extent. So the real reason people struggle, okay, the truth is we don't struggle because we're lazy or unmotivated. Some people can be. Most of the time it's not that though. We struggle because we're trying to change without understanding our own patterns. We're stuck on autopilot, reacting instead of responding. This whole process isn't about perfection. It's about progression. It's about waking up, paying attention, finally taking control because it is completely within reach. We just have to be aware. So what we're covering today, right? So why calorie tracking works, what actually matters for results, not all weight loss being created equal, protein, lean muscle mass, the golden key for weight loss. Everyone's looking for it. The investing in money analogy. And then we're going to finish this portion with the trade-offs of each path. The how to track is going to be in a separate video with MyFitnessPal. Why track calories? To lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit. A lot of people think they're eating less than they are, underreporting calories. And on the flip side, if they're trying to gain weight, over-reporting calories. Tracking is not about being perfect, but it is about being honest and giving yourself real data to work with. The more real data we have, the more we can make tactical adjustments. The more we have measured, the more we are able to make those adjustments. Though we don't want to track forever, right? None of us want to track for the rest of our lives. What it does for us is it builds awareness. It helps us in the lifestyle integration aspect. When we raise the level of our awareness, we stop living on autopilot. We start making those conscious decisions. That's where the real change is going to happen. When you understand what you're doing, why you're doing, and how it's affecting your progress, that is where you can take control. What actually matters for results? So not all progress is created equal. You can lose weight eating junk food, but how you look, feel, perform is going to depend on the quality of those calories. We'll get to those here in a second. In regards to what actually matters, we'll take a look at the pyramid. As you can see at the bottom, we have calories, middle is macros, top is micros. Calories are the foundation for weight loss. In theory, it is as simple as eating less and moving more, but in reality, there's more context behind that. I wouldn't give someone a 1,000 calorie budget and expect them to hold that long term, especially if we're trying to increase activity. And before anyone fires off at me in the comments or in my inbox, yes, there are medical conditions that can affect appetite, metabolic function, and overall movement. This is just the foundation we're building from. So if we take a look at the pyramid, at the bottom we have calories, which calories determines if you lose or gain weight. If you're in a deficit, so if you are eating less than you expend throughout the day, you are in a deficit. If you're eating more than you expend in any given day, you are in a surplus. Deficit for weight loss, surplus for weight gain. Now we have macronutrients. Your macronutrients, more importantly, your protein, shapes your body composition, how you look in the mirror. I'll touch on it really quick. Your protein and your caloric budget are going to be the two top things you want to worry about. Fat and carbs are going to be distributed very individually, and it can be totally based on preference. Some people like higher carbs, some people like lower carbs, some people like higher fats, some people like lower fats. It's all individual. Then at the top of the pyramid, we have your micronutrients, which impact your energy, mood, and recovery. You need all three. They just are focused on or prioritized in this order. If you stick to those whole foods, if it grew in the ground, grew on the tree, had a mother and father, you will naturally cover those micros. Now, there will be some where it's going to be more difficult to get that you can hit with supplements, but in essence, it's calories, macros, micros. They can flow together, stick to a whole foods diet, and you don't have too much to worry about. Not all weight loss is good weight loss. So it's not all created equal. Just because the scale's going down doesn't mean you're getting healthier. You can eat less, lose weight and still feel weak, tired, and frustrated. The quality of those calories matter. The ultra-processed, low-quality, highly palatable foods are often stripped of nutrients, leaving you low energy, poor recovery, and very little satiety or fullness. We're going to touch on protein in the next slide, but a lack of protein in your diet can lead to muscle loss and eventually sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle wasting. The more you rely on the hyper palatable foods, the more you're going to crave them. It becomes this vicious feedback loop from hell. So there is a difference between processed and ultra processed. Everything has been through some sort of process, whether it's your steaks that got sliced in a slicer and put out on some styrofoam and wrapping, whatever. It's been through a process. Now, the processed food is a blanket term. What we're looking to remove is the ultra processed foods, as you can kind of see in the picture here. Those are usually what's holding us back. We like to refer to those as empty calories. To add, I am not demonizing them. There is a time and place for it. The goal isn't just to hit a number on the scale. It's to feel strong, energized, and capable for life. There is no end goal here. The goal is not to win the game. The goal is to play the game for the rest of your life. When you're losing weight, your goal should be to lose fat, not muscle. This is where protein and strength training are going to come into play. Muscle is going to be your metabolism's best friend. It changes a whole lot. Muscle is what gives your body shape. It's what people say, I want to get more tone. Well, you got to build muscle to get tone first. If you lose weight without keeping muscle, yeah, sure, the scale's going to drop. That'll be validating, but you'll end up looking soft, flat, tired, and again, you won't like what you see in the mirror. But I lost weight. I don't like what I see in the mirror. This is why. It's like deflating a balloon rather than sculpting a statue. You didn't get lean, you just got smaller, maybe a little squishier. Think of muscle like the engine in your car. The bigger and stronger it is, the more fuel it burns, even when it's idling. Now, you lose that, it's like swapping your V8 for a lawnmower. You burn fewer calories, have less strength, and everything slows down, but you still got the big body. Okay, bit of a breakdown for our the macro market, we'll call it, as we'll see what the investing stuff looks like later in this presentation. But for now, this is speaking strictly on caloric value, nothing else, okay? So when we look at protein, these are your main macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, okay? So 1 gram of protein has about 4 calories. 1 gram of carbs has about 4 calories. Your fats, 1 gram of a fat has about 9 calories. So it's over twice the caloric value of a protein or carb. That's not demonizing fats. There are trade-offs, and we're going to get to it. So if we were to get a little visual here, okay, you put a 10 grams of protein on one side, 10 grams of carbs on the other, they will be nice and balanced out. Now, on the other side, if you put 10 grams of fat on one end of the scale and 10 grams of a carb or protein, the fat will be denser. It will lower because it is the dense macronutrient. A little more simpler example here, 10 grams of fat, 90 calories. 10 grams of protein or carbs, 40 calories. As I mentioned, I'm not demonizing macronutrients. There is no macronutrient or food that is inherently bad for you. It's all about how you manage it and distribute it. The calorie budget framework. Think of your calories like money. You get a budget to spend. It's going to be each day. I like to look at it from a week's perspective, just broken down to days. Some days you spend more. Some days you spend a little less. It's the total over time that's going to matter. Let's take into account this as well. You don't go broke from one splurge of a dinner, and you don't get rich from one penny pinching meal. It's the same concept with food. You don't get healthy by eating one balanced meal. On the other side, you don't get unhealthy by dropping $75 at Wendy's. It's how you manage the budget consistently over time that adds up. You could also save some calories for days you know you might be over. Say you have a family event. You have some friends in town. Anything that might be an off-plan type of day or meal, you can plan for that. All right, invest your calories wisely. So when it comes to nutrition, it's not just about how many calories you eat. It's about what you're getting from them. Foods that are high in protein, fiber, nutrients tend to help you stay fuller, longer, and support your energy, performance, and just overall consistency. Now, on the flip side, heavily processed foods burn through your system much quicker, often leaving you hungry and reaching for more until you're punching the bottom of the Lay's bag or knocking on the door of the snack cabinet again. The goal is to choose foods that not only taste good, but also help you feel good to stay on track with your goals. But I like to think of calories like an investment. Aim to get the biggest return for your body and health, not just those quick, volatile type stocks that could sink right then and there when you know they're going to sink. Take this a step further. As long as you've got 8 really good investments in place and they're growing, they're compounding over time, you might have 1 or 2 in there that you can kind of have fun and do what you want with and put money into something that you know is not going to go up, but it's going to be fun. For instance, like having a meal off plan. Okay? So again, there is space for all that. We can make space for that as long as we plan for it and take care of the big boulders, make the big investments over time first. All right, the golden key, what you have all been waiting for. Unfortunately, there is no golden key. But if there was one, it'd be a combination of these 6 points right here. These are the things that will move the needle. It's not flashy, it's not sexy, but they work when done with consistency over time. Now, I'm not saying here and telling you that those 6 have to be completed in order to get any sort of progress. No, you could probably do 2 or 3 of those and find progress, maybe even 1. But what I will say is if you were to get all 6 down, I guarantee you whatever your goal is, you will get there a hell of a lot faster and more efficient than you could ever imagine. I understand there are different seasons of life. There are different holidays through the season. There are different levels of stress throughout the year. So I understand not all 6 can be checked at all times. Hell, 4 may even be out of the question at times. But this is not about perfection. It's about direction and progress. It's about showing up for these basics day after day, week after week, and stacking those habits and stacking those days. It's about showing up for these basics day after day, letting them compound week after week. Each path has their trade-offs. This is great for understanding the spectrum of dieting culture, you can say. So some people like to go all in. They cut hard, aggressive, and they see quick results. That can absolutely work, and it is not wrong. It's just intense. The key to that path is knowing it's not forever. This is a phase that you have put a set time limit for, but it is likely not sustainable for your lifestyle. And most people don't have a plan to come out of that phase, which is when people rebound and they gain all that weight back. So again, it's a path. There are trade-offs. There's risk to it all. Others are going to prefer something slower, more flexible. They build days in where they eat off plan. My progress is going to be a little slower, which is the trade-off for that. But it's totally more livable and sustainable to continue it with lifestyle integration. That is completely valid. What I'm saying is that there is no perfect way. It's about figuring out what works for you, your life, your energy, whatever phase of life you're in, stress levels, family, whatever it may be. But it's all about being willing to adjust along the way. To finish this up, I know I've mentioned this multiple times already, but your awareness is key. When we start slipping below the level of our awareness and functioning below the level of our awareness, that's when autopilot kicks in. We lose track of what's going on. When we're having the bag of chips, that bag of chips is gone before we know it, and then that's when the guilt sets in. Oftentimes, emotions can kick in and flip that switch without us even knowing. So the more we stay in the driver's seat, the more smooth the ride is going to be. As I have here for the last point, your awareness leads to better choices, and your better choices lead to better results. So with that, I hope you got enough out of this as I intended for. If you didn't, please let me know. If you have any questions, concerns, wanting to go into more depth on anything that was mentioned on here, let me know. I'm here to provide everything I can for everyone in the inner circle. So thank you for checking this out. Thank you for rewatching if you're rewatching. And thank you for your patience for those who have been waiting for the recording or this re-recording, because I messed it up so many damn times, to be up. So any other questions, let me know. You guys have my contact info. Hit the forums. Let's keep getting after it.